Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into a showdown that has absolutely everyone buzzing in the world of professional wrestling.
Hmm.
We're talking the reigning world heavyweight champion Gunther squaring off against the legendary WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg.
Yeah, and this isn't just, any title match. This one's packed with layers, history, and a seriously personal edge.
That's right. So our mission in this deep dive is to really pull back those layers. We're drawing straight from the latest official announcements right there on WWE.com.
And we're going to explore the catalyst, the kind of surprising start to this whole rivalry, the huge stakes involved,
Right.
and really why this particular clash at Saturday night's main event is now something you absolutely have to watch.
So as we get into it, maybe ask yourself this. What does it truly mean for the current landscape of WWE when a really personal insult from months back blows up into a championship clash this big?
Well, let's start with the main event itself, because it's a fascinating collision. You've got different generations, different styles.
Absolutely.
On one side, you have Gunther, current world heavyweight champion. You have his style, dominant, no-nonsense, almost surgical.
Analytical.
And on the other corner,
Mhm.
the icon, Goldberg, WB Hall of Famer. A name that just means explosive power, that legendary streak. Just pure intensity.
And crucially, this isn't just speculation or rumor anymore.
Nope.
This huge clash is officially set for Saturday night's main event on July 12th. And if you're looking to catch it live,
Which you probably should.
yeah, definitely. It'll be airing on NBC and streaming on Peacock. Kicks off at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central.
Now, what's really interesting here, and this is where things start to connect, is the location.
Ah, yes.
The event is taking place in Atlanta. Remember that city, because that detail becomes absolutely crucial when we talk about how this whole thing started.
Okay, so what makes this rivalry so compelling and what our dive into the sources really shows is that this isn't just a random challenge.
No, not at all.
This whole thing, this really deep personal grudge, it actually ignited months ago, back at WWE Bad Blood 2024.
Indeed, that's the Flashpoint. At that event, World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. Well, he didn't just insult Goldberg.
Right.
He took it a big step further. He insulted Goldberg's son, Gage,
Mm-hmm.
while they were both just sitting there watching the show from the crowd.
Yeah.
So this wasn't just like a professional jab or trying to build hype.
No, this felt different.
It felt like a deeply personal attack on his family, publicly.
And it's fascinating how the source material points out that it wasn't just words either. The situation nearly got physical right there in the stands.
Almost came to blows.
Imagine that tension. Now, in your experience, when you bring a family member into a wrestling storyline like this, even just verbally, how does that uniquely ratchet up the emotional stakes compared to, a standard professional rivalry?
Oh, that's a great question,
Hmm.
because it really transforms things. It takes it from competitive dislike, maybe professional jealousy, into something much more visceral.
Yeah.
When you cross that line, involve family, especially a kid, and you do it publicly like that, it taps into something really fundamental, that protective instinct.
Right.
Suddenly, it feels less about just winning a belt and more about defending honor. It's a powerful narrative tool, and in this case, it clearly set the stage for, well, an unmissable grudge match.
Which brings us perfectly to the next beat, the surprise return and the challenge being laid down. Goldberg made a completely unexpected comeback. This was on the June 16th episode of Monday Night Raw. Just popped up.
And at the timing, well, it couldn't have been more impactful, really.
How so?
This return happened just 1 week after Gunther had dramatically won back the world title from main event G Uso.
Ah, okay. So Gunther's literally just reclaimed the championship.
Exactly. So Goldberg isn't just returning to the roster in general. He's returning specifically to challenge the new dominant champion right at the absolute peak of his regained power.
And he didn't waste any time, did he?
Not a second. He basically marched out there, threw down the gauntlet directly to Gunther, this dominant title holder, and just declared, he's next.
Wow.
Crystal clear. The definitive, in-your-face challenge, specifically pointing towards the Atlanta event. No ambiguity at all about his intentions.
Now, that Atlanta connection definitely adds layers, like you said. But, some people might argue that digging up a storyline from months ago could feel a little forced or maybe manufactured just to create a main event. What's your take on how WWE's made this feel so, I guess, authentic and immediate for a championship match?
That's a fair point to raise. It's perceptive. But I think what's really insightful here, and what WWE seems to be doing more often, is blurring those lines between kayfabe, the storylines, and what feels real.
Okay.
By bringing Goldberg's actual son into it back at Bad Blood, and then crucially setting this match in Atlanta, the exact city where that insult
Yeah,
happened.
it brings it full circle.
Exactly. They're elevating this beyond just a standard title defense.
Right.
It stops being only about who's the better wrestler and becomes this almost primal quest for personal justice, for revenge.
And that connects more.
I think so. It resonates far more deeply with an audience that, even within a scripted world, really craves that authentic emotion. So the long buildup, rather than feeling forced, actually kind of amplifies that sense of, inevitability and payback.
That makes a lot of sense. So this match is clearly a huge deal, a massive draw. And for anyone looking to follow every twist and turn, the world of WWE is, well, it's easier to access than ever, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. You've got premium live events, all sorts of content available across like a whole range of platforms, WWE Network, of course, but also Netflix now in many places, Peacock in the US, Sony Live, Flow, lots of ways to watch.
But beyond just where you can watch this specific rivalry, this very personal saga, it offers a pretty interesting window into the current direction of WWE, right?
Mhm.
How does this Gunther Goldberg thing fit into the bigger picture of what's happening, say, around June 2025?
Exactly. Because while Gunther versus Goldberg is grabbing headlines, it's really just one thread in this constantly evolving tapestry.
Mm-hmm.
This whole showdown is happening during a really dynamic period for WWE. You've got, for instance, the King and Queen of the Ring tournament still unfolding.
Yeah, we saw Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso making moves.
Precisely.
Mm.
Which highlights how new talent is always pushing, how new rivalries are constantly bubbling up alongside these big established ones.
Absolutely. And the sources we looked at also point to recent show results like Raw from June 16th, SmackDown from June 13th, just showing that constant flow of storylines, new angles popping up all the time.
Yeah.
Plus, there are always those other trending topics on WW.com, right? Things like amazing superstar transformations, or talking about The Undertaker post-retirement, or even lists like 25 most humiliating moments.
It all feeds into the universe.
Yeah, this constant churn from the immediate matches to historical lookbacks, it ensures that every storyline, even one rooted in something as personal as this, exists within this rich, interconnected world that keeps you engaged.
And it also reminds us how past events constantly echo into the present. Like, the source material mentions John Cena stealing the undisputed WWE title from Cody Rhodes back at WrestleMania Sunday.
Ah, right. A huge moment.
Exactly. And even if that seems totally separate from Gunther and Goldberg on the surface, these big historical moments create context, a shared history that kind of elevates all the ongoing rivalries. It's about building that whole universe, not just isolated matches.
So just to quickly recap what we've covered here, we've got this deeply personal rivalry between the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther and the Hall of Famer Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
It all kicked off with an insult that really crossed a line involving Goldberg's son,
A very clear line.
sparking this intense personal grudge that's now set to culminate at Saturday night's main event in Atlanta, the very place it started.
Full circle.
So this isn't just about a championship belt. It's about vengeance. It's about personal honor, maybe even that protective instinct of a father.
Which really raises an interesting question for you, the listener, to think about.
Right.
In this world of, competitive spectacle, how does a deeply personal slight, something beyond just wanting the title, actually transform a match?
Yeah.
How does it turn it into one of those truly unmissable events, pushing the boundaries of what sports entertainment can even be? What does it really say about the human element, even inside a carefully crafted story, when a rivalry just feels this viscerally real?
Definitely something to chew on. It certainly makes you want to tune in.